Give the call to the member for Spence.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. My question is to the Minister for Industry and Science. What is the Albanese Labor government doing to help reduce pressure on energy prices for Australian manufacturers, like those in my electorate? How has this been effective compared to other approaches?
The call to the Minister for Industry and Science.
Thanks, Speaker, and it's terrific to get a great question from a huge supporter of Australian manufacturing, and thank you for that. The Albanese government believes in a future made in Australia. It's important for our longer-term economic and social good, and revitalising Australian manufacturing is a big part of that.
Member for Fairfax.
But if we want that to happen,
the Minister will pause. The member for Fairfax. I want to be clear. I can definitely hear what you're saying. Just going to ask you to cease interjecting. The Minister in continuation.
Thank you. But if we want that to happen, there are some things that we can do that can help in a very concrete way. To get the job done, Australian manufacturers need access to affordable energy, be it for food manufacturing in Spence, making steel in Cunningham, or producing trucks in Oxley. Our energy price relief plan really important for Australian manufacturers, and that'll help them get goods to market better. It's also going to protect jobs. It will put downward pressure on prices, take up the fight on inflation. But as the global energy crisis started to take off and you saw skyrocketing coal and gas prices, what do we get out of those opposite? We had 22 failed energy plans, and they actively conspired to hide price hikes from the Australian public.
Order.
In the second quarter of 2022, the last quarter of those under those opposite, electricity prices paid by Australian manufacturers, they increased 60%. 60%. By contrast, new figures released last week show that the Albanese government's approach is working. AEMO, now they predicted electricity prices for manufacturers would go up by nearly 33% in the second quarter of this year. But last week they showed prices actually went down 1.5%. The big takeout on this is that the actions of the government help shield manufacturers from the worst of the price increases. Those actions, an energy price cap, price relief for households, a mandatory code of conduct that makes it easier for manufacturers and producers to strike up contracts.
The member for Fairfax is warned.
Now, those opposite, Speaker, they'll puff their chests and they'll say, I'll go to Canberra and I'll ask a question about energy price increases affecting manufacturers. But here's a radical idea, Speaker. Why don't those opposite ever look those manufacturers in the eye? Why don't they have the guts to say they voted against the very energy price relief that would have helped those manufacturers? Because this is the standout quality of those opposite.
The member for Fairfax.
They're never there with a solution, always there with a problem. Every single Liberal and National MP voted against energy price relief for manufacturers, just like every single Liberal and National MP refused to back Australian manufacturing by backing the National Reconstruction Fund. People have seen through these guys. They've seen that they only turn up for a camera, never there with a solution, always part of the problem.
The minister's time has concluded.